forget. Sometimes we never forget. Haven't seen the end of it yet. We'll fight as long as we live. All eyes on the hidden door to the lonely mountain road. We'll ride in a gathering storm till we get our long forgotten goal.
Okay, so welcome to TAC Chat number 37. I'm Dan, your host. My website is going to be spiritualanarchist93.com. That's spiritualanarchist93.com. It is back up. I do have some content on there. I'm trying to, I'm working with somebody, and sometimes when you're working with somebody who has a regular job and they're volunteering for you, you're kind of on their schedule. But he is gonna, we are going to be getting a server. I am back up on YouTube, which is awesome. I'm going to have all those links. I'm still on Rumble. I'm still on the other social media platforms. I'll have that all in the description below. And this is TAC Chat number 37. 3 plus 7 equals 10. We're coming to an ending. New beginning. So, without further ado, there's a few things that I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to start off with the low-hanging fruit. And the low-hanging fruit is not something I want to focus on too much because we see it all the time in the news. See, the news media, mainstream news media, they want to keep you backpedaling. They want to keep you in a state of fear. They want to keep you, not actually fear. Fear is a good thing, okay? Fear of what's right in front of you is something that you need. It's evolutionary. So fear is not a bad thing. But anxiety usually is. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to keep you in this fucking state of perpetual anxiety by rolling out one thing after another. Now they got monkeypox. Like, you see the news. It's some of it's like hilarious that more people aren't picking up on it. But it is what it is. Okay, I'll get into that later. Excuse me, I might have something to drink here. This is purified water. I just got done working out not that long ago and decided, hey, how about doing a TAC Chat? Got that from Float Fest, man. I love it. But anyway, so I want to talk about, first off, the reason why so many obvious contradictions aren't getting pointed out is because we are raised from the time we're small children with contradictions. We're raised to believe in contradictions. And, you know, at one point or another, I think we've all believed in contradictions. You know, you could use the 7 deadly sins. I've used 7 deadly sins before to talk about how they're used to control humanity. They're contradicting. Okay, and you're raised with these contradictions, especially if you're a Christian and or Catholic, which is its own little form of Christianity in itself, and they make no sense. They're to control you. Okay, the first one, lust. We'll talk about lust. How do we propagate our species if we don't have lust? We have to get over the fact, folks, we're sexual creatures, man. I'm over it. Trust me. It's a contradiction. Again, it's about it's a warning against excess, but it's not. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay. Now, envy. Okay, envy is a contradiction because sometimes envy is good if it makes you want to emulate somebody that you're envious of something that they've done or that they are doing, and you don't bring harm to anybody. But you know they wanted to control you with envy. Don't envy. We have a lot because we're the masters and you're the slaves. So don't envy us because that's a sin. I mean, I can keep going on with all the contradictions we're raised with. I'm not going to go into the whole 7 deadly sins. Okay, I wasn't prepared to do anything in the least bit religious or spiritual today. But I just wanted to give just that little bit of background on why people accept these contradictions. And another thing that happens is once the ego is activated, it no longer becomes about being, or it no longer is about discernment or finding truth. Once that ego is activated, it's about being right. That's all people want to do, is be right. And they're blindly believing in things like their religion. Science has become a religion. They're blindly believing in certain things where there isn't evidence to show certain things. They're treating their politicians like they're gods. Okay? Personally, I don't get it. I don't understand it. But I'm working on that. I'm working on that. I'm human. I'm working on that. But moving ahead, to get into some of the low-hanging fruit and point out some contradictions, this made its way around social media. I think it's hilarious. The guy's under siege at war, his pictures with him and his troops. And, bear in mind that America's still enslaved to a great degree, but we still are the freest country in the world. We still are the light of the world. And we are the most well-armed citizenry in the world. We have to fall before they can institute any New World Order slavery, which is what they want to do with all this. They're manufacturing a food crisis. You got to look at all the spokes on the evil of the wheel of evil, and what does each spoke connect? It's all connected. David Icke calls it a spider web. Each one of these spokes is a different tool on the wheel of evil. Okay. You got to look at other forms of information, other forms of media. Okay, some of the mainstream news media is going to give you about 5% truth, if that. That's being kind of generous, actually. Don't listen to everything they're saying. I'm no longer wanting to talk to other people in the freedom community. A lot of times we do that. We talk to each other, and I'm grateful to get feedback or to get ideas. But I realize a lot of times when I'm talking, I've gone back and listened to some of my things, and I'm preaching to the choir. I'm hoping someone else starts seeing some of this. So I'm not going to be preaching to the choir anymore. I'm trying to reach the mind-controlled citizens, and I don't mean that as an insult, because they're good at what they do. It's marketing, man. It's like a commercial. So it's the power of suggestion. This exists. People are programmable, okay? Deprogrammable and reprogrammable. Okay, I know this. I was a Marine. I'm an ex-order follower. So I'll use my special police training to tell you what I think this does. It tells the women of this country, the feminazis that they're having turn against, they got to destroy us from the inside out, folks. So, they're looking, oh, look at this cute guy. He takes care of his woman, and he's the president of a country. The government takes care of its people, and meanwhile, they have Roe versus Wade ridiculousness over here. Okay. Corey Engelot talked about how you can't be pro-life if you're not pro-choice, and I really dug the way he put it. And you if you're pro-life and not pro-choice, that's a contradiction. They know this. That is a inconsistent fallacy of an argument they get to get people at each other's throats. Not going to get into the small little, intricacies of it, but all of a sudden you got that Gestapo up in Canada. Come up here and we'll let you get abortions. So the women in this country turn even more against, their men who they control. Okay, women have a strong amount of influence over men. Some women know how to use that. Some women don't. Luckily for me and a lot of other people like me, no one controls me. No one influences me. No woman's going to influence me. In fact, they knew, I shouldn't say that. But they knew that when they instituted this whole psyop back in 2020, that it was going to break apart families, because oftentimes you'll have very political left-wing women, women rights, and for all their intents and purposes, you get along with them. They're your friend. You're married to them. But now you get to this point where you're sticking to first principles, and they knew it was going to split up families. Just like they know that enacting these laws is really a form of legal femicide. You need to really look at it from a different standpoint than what you are. So all they're doing with this guy's at war. Give me a break. She looks like she's in shock. She's being forced to take this picture. Get the fuck out of here, man. I don't even want to get going. It's not morning time. It's 4 o'clock here in the Cleveland area. But it's plain for me to see. And something else, a picture that was taken in December 2019, and I put this in another one of my podcasts, is a picture of a meeting with Zelensky and Putin. They're fucking friends. They were planning this. This was part of a plan. I used to work for the government. They lay this shit out in advance. They want to keep you in a state of reaction and retreat and anxiety about the future, because you're going to vibe low if that's what they constantly have you in. Now on Facebook, I do go on some rants. I do post some low-hanging fruit stuff. I'm going to do it. It's stress relief. I don't care. But don't think I don't have other healthy stress reliefs. I work out. I read. I'm actually reading comic books now. But I did study this week. I studied the tarot in depth for divinations and things I'm starting to actually get better at because I'm clairaudient. And that's not something I say lightly. Go figure. The ex-Marine hears voices, okay? But anyway, moving on from the low-hanging fruit, and these are just all contradictions. And we've been programmed since we were children to accept contradictions. Well, we'll just table that for now. It's like back during the election, the judge that was going to initially try whatever her name was, Maxwell, Griswold, or whatever the hell her name was. The judge that was going to do that, her son and husband got assassinated by a FedEx worker. Okay? In the midst of the election, in the midst of all this other stuff, and everyone's like, well, we're going to just, we're going to table this for now. We're not going to worry about that because we want our guy to win. They're on the same side. Okay? They're on the same side. That's all I'm going to say about that. That's the low-hanging fruit. These fuckers are friends. Okay? It's very easy to see. But what I want to talk about is I want to talk about slavery. I want to ask bigger questions, and I mean this, very wholeheartely and spiritually to anyone who can answer this question. Why has part of the human condition been one of perpetual slavery? And this is even the Vikings. They had slaves. They were called thralls. Some of them were. That's why they got the term enthralled. They were thralls. Some of them were thralls voluntarily because they owed something and they were paying it off. So there might have been a form of honor in it. Some were thralls involuntarily as a form of punishment if they had something taken before one of the earls or one of their earls that would say, okay, you're gonna serve as his slave for the next blah 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 blah, which is the same thing as our current prison system. To be honest with you, nobody should be in prison. Okay, they've monetized the criminal justice system terribly. So, and I worked in a prison too, so I know what I'm talking about with this stuff. I've got a wide, eclectic array of experiences here to call upon. I look like a hippie. This is on purpose. Trust me. I could look real militant if I get a short haircut, and I don't want to. The best way to be tactical is to not look tactical. But anyway, so why has humanity been subjected to one kind of slavery or servitude or another throughout the entirety of our existence? And why have we allowed it? Okay, Vikings had slaves. Thralls, they were called. Some of them were prisoners of war, became slaves. Some were treated like complete crap. Others were treated like family. Okay? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you volunteer to be a slave or if you're tricked into being a slave or if it's against your will completely. Slavery's wrong. It never will be right under the Creator, okay? And freedom is your birthright. Love is your birthright, okay? And only love and discernment are going to drive out hate and fear. And every time we have some type of debate or talk about something, it should be for discernment and understanding and clarity and truth, and not for I'm right. It's stupid. We got to get, people have to, all of us, I'm no better at times. We have to get our egos out of things sometimes. It takes humbling yourself. But don't become so humble that you're, like I've talked about before, don't be fake humble. Don't be fake humble where you're not willing to stand in your truth and say, no, fuck you, you're wrong, okay? But the question stands is, why have we always allowed slavery? And just before anyone wants to get racial, which is another great divide, race wasn't even invented until like 1858. It became a thing in this country. Prior to that, race was just like, hey, we all knew we were humans, and we all knew that everyone had slaves. It was normal, okay? Slaves throughout all human history. Egyptians had slaves. Africans had other Africans as slaves. All colors of skin pigmentation have had slaves of all colors, pigmentations of skin. And there's a lot more than just chattel slavery. There's financial slavery. There's mental bondage and slavery through mind control and through coercion. There's a lot of that going on in the world. So my question is why do we end up back in the point of slavery after we've done stuff to get out of it? It seems like it's a reoccurring theme, just a complete reoccurring thing. And when combating slavery, it's very important to remember that in the retirement, and this is something I put on Facebook, I'm just going to read it, in the retainment of our freedoms, the righteous use, that's the right use of force, must never be taken off the table. This is the sacred self-defense principle in which all beings possess inherently under nature's creator, under God with a capital G. I would go on to say also the non-aggression principle is very important. Peace, non-violence. Okay? People like me are getting up here and talking, oh, is he trying to overthrow the government? I'd like to see all governments gone. I just want it to be done without violence. I want it to be through higher consciousness and common sense. Okay? They don't want that. So I went on to write, in fact, force has had to be used many times throughout human history to regain stolen freedoms. But the bigger question begs to be asked, why is it that once we win our freedom, which is every being's birthright, why is it once again lost? Why is this perpetual circle of us constantly in it? As our morals decline, is our freedom declining? As our morals get better, does our freedom become better? I would suggest yes, and things that I've heard other people say, What on Earth is Happening is a great resource, things that Mark Passio said. I believe spiritually that has a lot to do with it, but my question is why do we constantly come back to it? What's pulling the strings, folks? Because I've said this before on other podcasts, I've heard other people say it, I've researched it. It is intuitive also, okay? There is intuition going on through heart-based intelligence, but there's also been research, okay? That's the sacred masculine and sacred feminine working together to tell me that there is something bigger pulling the strings here. And if you were a being that lived for millions and millions of years, it'd be really easy to prophesize and predict what's going to happen in 2.5 to 3,000 years. I can live up to maybe 100 years, and I guarantee you I can foretell and prophesize what's going to happen 2 days from now. Absolutely, almost with 100% certainty, at least as far as I know. I can have contingency plans for Sunday if things back, I'm going off a little bit here, but why is it lost? And I went on to write that love, which is also a birthright, under will, which has a willpower, love is first, under will, is going to be needed to both explore and find the answer to that question. Why do we lose our freedoms, and why are we constantly having to fight for it? Through the entirety of our existence, all the way back to Mesopotamia, the first human civilization. Okay, read Slave Species of the Gods by Michael Tillinger. I've said this many times before. And he expands upon Eric von Daniken's work on Chariots of the Gods and astronaut theory. Interesting read. And if you believe in the bearded men in the sky pulling levers and doing this and doing that, but can't consider that there's other life out there that could have created us through experimental gene therapy, okay, it can happen. In fact, I'd suggest it did, but God with a capital G does not, no being has the right to own or enslave another being. And I'm not even saying human being. I'm not delineating between beings. If you are alive, sentient being with a conscience, you have a right to freedom. Full stop. Okay? Full stop. So that's one of the questions that I would ask, or I would ask. And self-defense could be like, I'll give you an example of self-defense. So financial self-defense. I'm not going to name the company because they gave me a refund, but they, I don't even know who this company is. I don't remember. Maybe it's when I had my business last year, but they took out $75. Almost got me overdrawn on my. Well, they did overdraw me. I probably won't get the overdraw fee back, but whatever. And I was doing everything I could do to get a hold of them, to get them to stop this. I tried to get PayPal. PayPal can eat a bag of. I'm not going to say it. Bill Gates' fake meat dicks. Okay, I said it. I couldn't get nobody to undo this fee. So I'm getting all these different emails from this company. Hey, glad you're redone your stuff. I didn't redo nothing. I can't get a hold of anybody. So one of the emails I replied, and just by luck, it wasn't an automated email. It went to somebody. And this was self-defense. It was self-defense, electronic self-defense to get back my stolen money. And this is what I really wrote in this email. I was just like, fuck off, thieves. I am reporting you to every agency that combats fraud and shady business practices and publicly as possible. I wrote that this morning. I came back this afternoon and had a full refund. So again, sometimes your no, we're not having this, has to have a little bit of a sting behind it, a little bit of a oomph in some kind of way to let them know that you're not going to have this. I didn't threaten anybody, but I used my words and my verbiage effectively to get these thieves to give me the money back. And that's just an example. Something I just wanted to put in there too, and this is really for anybody out there who's awake, and I got to have a friend of mine over who's a big-time conspiracy theorist, but he's got 25 years of research, so he's definitely coming on the show. And he's so fortunate, him and his beautiful wife, she's right on board with most of the stuff me and him talked about. And he's going to come back, and he's just lucky to have an awakened woman, awake and not woke. And I think that this message just served to remind me, and I hope it can remind you, that we can only give this message to people who are willing to hear it, put it out there for consideration, and make contingency plans. Because it seems like a lot of people are really mind-controlled and not willing to look at anything with a little bit more critical of an eye. And this goes out to my right-wing friends also, because Trump's not a savior. He's not a savior. Okay? What do they call him? Biden now? It doesn't matter. They were best. They worked their dance together, man, beautifully back in 2020 to set off each other's followers, man. Okay, to set off each other's fucking cult members. That's what they did. He's not some savior. So, to my right-wing friends, I know I say more that you agree with, but I don't agree in borders. I don't agree in any kind of government. So there's probably a lot we disagree with also. I just agree with you guys more than I agree with the left. Taxation is theft, period. I can go on and on about what the left does, but to me, all government does the same thing. It gives you, especially in this country here, the most freest country in the world, it gives us the illusion of freedom while they still do whatever the hell they want to do anyway. I've seen through this years ago. So I just wanted to put this up there. Some people aren't going to be able to hear you no matter what, and when they no longer hear you, you have to leave. When they don't hear you, you have to go. If they're not going to let you protect them, and they're not going to let you have their back as a man, time to go. Okay? Someone else will want the protection. So I know that they knew that problems were going to occur with people and with families, and it's broken apart a lot of families. You know what hasn't broken apart families? Certain things that get you sick. But then there's other things that has broken apart a lot of families, and they don't talk about that kind of stuff. So that's kind of weird to me. It's a little odd that they talk about one, but they don't talk about the other. So I want to just leave everybody with one other thing. These are very stressful times for everybody, man. I get it. I counsel people. I help people out. I've done it for years in different ways. But now when I've got people coming to me with, they're just really stressed out because of this. Like COVID itself has a mental health designation. It's a COVID mental health disorder or something they're calling it. People really are stressed about what's going on in the world, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. Who wouldn't be? What normal person wouldn't be? My advice is to get out in nature, barefoot ground. Walk through nature barefoot, get sun every day, get some exercise, live life in the moment a little bit, because we only got one life here that we know of. I believe in many lives, actually, which is why I want to do my job while I'm here. Maybe I can, maybe we can sit under that shade of the seeds we're planting, and that would be the goal. That'd be the great goal. I don't think it's going to happen, but we have to get people to understand objective morality under God, under the Creator's natural laws, not man's laws. Okay, 15 years ago, you could do a life sentence for getting caught dealing and smoking marijuana 3 times or something, and now it's legal everywhere in the country. Okay, it was never immoral to begin with, folks. There's so many laws like that, man. But a lot of people think that they've got mental health issues. And I'm not saying mental health issues aren't legit, that people don't actually have them. But I want you to be careful about thinking you have a mental health issue, when in fact you live in a society that's just is, it's in direct contradiction to the human spirit. The great Christian Murphy said, "It is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society." And slavery, make no mistake about it, is a profoundly sick society. Accepting any form of slavery means you have been mind controlled. Okay? You have no right to that. So I just wanted to tell you, you're not mentally ill. You're just not well adjusted to all the contradictions you have been conditioned to accept without question throughout your life. So stay that way. That's not mentally ill. That's you, somewhere in your subconscious, understanding that these contradictions, all of them, in religion, in everyday life, in beliefs, are they're designed to confuse you and get you angry. There's something internally inside of you that'll tear you apart with the contradictions. Trust me, I was in a line of work where there was a lot of contradictions, a whole lot of contradictions. And it's the contradictions that create that war within yourself, man, But yeah, I come on here, I got different moods today. I cussed a little bit. I am an ex-Marine. I'm probably never going to do a podcast without dropping some bad language here and there. But I'm also kind of relaxed because I trained real hard today, so I'm kind of, chilling. Maybe it's, and this is water, folks. This isn't alcohol. This is like filtered, some of the best water you can have for yourself. So drink plenty of filtered water. But anyways, it's Friday. This is Tac Chat number 37. I'm going to add more stuff. I got more things coming up. I just wanted to put an actual Tac Chat out there, not some coffee morning rant thingy that I usually do, just to let people know I'm still at it. I'm still doing some things, and I've gotten a lot of good feedback from people in my area, which is good. I like the feedback I get from anybody, but to have people directly in my own area approach me and give me feedback or hit me up and want me to come talk. That's what I want. This is why I'm trying to get myself out there, because eventually this is what we all need to do and get as many people talking as possible, because once the talking stops, something else is going to happen. Okay? Anyway, until the fake alien invasion and all the other devastating things that they have going on, I want to just let everybody know, have a great weekend, stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you for watching. Please smash that like button if you see this on YouTube. Share it with your friends. I got other content and all kinds of other things to look at. Other interviews and stuff that I've done with people. Look at those. Look who's interviewed me. Check out their work. And I'll see you soon. Stay safe.